everybody enjoying Sandbass Festival today? We're out here today. I am Tara Woodlee. I am the CEO and founder of the Ashleigh's Patience Project. And the trailers you just watched is trailers to a documentary that's being made about the death of my daughter, Ashleigh Lindsey. She was 4 months pregnant with our first grandchild, Patience Lynn, when she was murdered during a brutal domestic violence dispute right here in Enos, Oklahoma about a year ago. And Ashleigh was a beautiful, beautiful girl, and we miss her very much, of course, but the legacy that we want for Ashleigh as a family is to promote domestic violence awareness. And we think that domestic violence awareness begins also in your schools with bullying. Bullying is a problem that escalates later on into domestic violence. This is what studies show. It shows that in different studies with Harvard and with the CDC, the Centers of Disease Control, that by the time your average student graduates from high school, 77% of them say they have been bullied in some way, shape, or form by the time they leave school. That's a really high statistic. That's 3 in 4 kids. Now, where are they learning this bullying? Well, statistics show that in a home where there is violence present, a child is 10 times more likely to be a bully at school. So it's a cycle, just like the domestic violence has a cycle, a pattern of abuse. Bullying and domestic violence also cycles and has a pattern of abuse. They say that, they talk about with young men. They did a study from Harvard University of a poll of 1,500 men. And 40% of them admitted to being abusive to their partner. Of that 40%, 16% said they were bullied in school. That's really high figures. Also, 38% of the men admitted to being bullied. Of that 38% of men, 12% of them admitted to committing domestic violence as they got older. So it's an escalation, but it's not just the boys, it's the young women as well. Girls have a different type of bullying that goes on. Boys, bullying tends to be more physical. The young ladies is more emotional and verbal. The young ladies tend to isolate each other socially. They promote usually ugly name calling and harassment, and they're the worst offenders as far as cyberbullying. Our young ladies are, and the statistics show that cyberbullying is becoming the #1 cause of bullying now, the #1 thing, the tool that they use in bullying now. So it's spilling outside of the schools onto our internets, into our homes. So they say that in these studies, part of it is that they did a poll of 6th graders in Massachusetts, and half the 6th grade boys said that they thought it was okay to slap a girl. Half. By 9th grade, the 9th grade boys that were polled, 1/3 of them had slapped their girlfriend already at some point in time. And amongst the 10th grade girls who were polled, 1/4 of them said they had been slapped or threatened in a domestic teen violent dating type of situation, usually during a breakup. So where does all of this start? Well, it starts in our home. They're learning it at home. I know with my first husband, Ashleigh's father, biological father, he was growing up a child who was bullied. And in our home, he decided that, he was never going to be placed in that kind of a situation again, so he felt like he had to be the one dominant. So Ashleigh saw many years 13 years that I was married to him of violence in our home off and on. And it took me a long time to break away from that cycle. But when I did, I thought that I had saved my children out of that cycle, and I was wrong. Ashleigh was a very strong-willed girl. She was the girl who knew everybody, everything, very loving, very protective of her friends, would give the shirt off her back for you. And you would never expect she was the one who would pick somebody who would abuse her. You would think that the first time that happened, she would have walked away. And that wasn't so. She ended up picking a young man named Joshua Mahaffey, who lived here in Lebanon, Oklahoma, and moved in with him. And they had gotten engaged to get married. And when I first met him, everything that he presented to me was wonderful. He seemed to, really be in love with her. She seemed to be really in love with him. But what was going on behind closed doors, of course, was very different. He was slapping her and punching her and calling her names, and it escalated. Last year's Sandbass Festival, my husband and I were walking around here showing my daughter's picture to everyone we could because we couldn't find her. She had taken off and finally left Joshua in the abuse. And she had gone into hiding and disappeared. He was calling us, asking us to come and help him look in the lake for her because he was sure she was dead. I had panicked. My husband had panicked. We called the police and issued a BOLO alert for her. And the Sandbass Festival happened to be going on, and in desperation, we came out here, brought her pictures, and showed everyone we could. We ended up getting a lead here at the Sandbass Festival, someone who knew her, someone who had seen her. And so we knew he hadn't killed her at that point in time. The next day, she was able to get in contact with us, and we thought we were on the road to, handling this issue, getting her some help. We had discovered that when we met up with her, in order to have the BOLO alert released, she had to talk to a police officer. The police officer got on the phone with us because we live an hour and a half away, and told us that she was okay, but she was bruised, and that he was filing felony assault charges. Now, here in Oklahoma, the only reason Ashleigh was able or capable of getting a felony assault charge was because she was pregnant. If he had done these things to her when she was not pregnant, it would have been a misdemeanor, and that is all. But because she was pregnant, the day he left, the day before she left, he had slapped her, and she said she was going to leave, and he said she would not be able to leave, so he punched her, and then he dragged her by the hair and put her head through the wall, and threw her down to the ground, and he kicked her in the stomach and told her she was not leaving with that baby. And then he dragged her into the bedroom and he tied her up overnight. He would not release her until she consented to having sex with him. And that was the only way he would release her. So she ended up consenting to that, and when he took off for work the next day, she left, and she ran into hiding. For a month and a half, she hid from different friends here in this county. The police recommended she stay in county. If you have somebody in that situation, hide them as far away as you can. That's my recommendation. She hid for a month and a half, and it escalated and it escalated. He stalked her at work. He threatened all her fellow employees at her work, her boss. He threatened to kill them all and burn the place down. Of course, the police were called in every time, and they couldn't catch him. It ended up he was hiding in Texas, and they couldn't find him. The day before she died, Joshua recruited a roommate of his named Joshua Scott, and Joshua Scott, the night before, in order to get a car to go pick up Joshua Mahaffey, killed his mother's boyfriend, Chad Page. He bought a gun and he killed him and he stole his car. And then he drove 3 hours to pick up Joshua Mahaffey to drive 3 hours back. They met Joshua Mahaffey's mom at a convenience store, bought him beer and cigarettes and gas. She knew the police were looking for him. She didn't call the police. They promised her that they would turn themselves in. Well, they didn't. They hunted down Ashleigh, and one of them broke in the front door while the other one broke in the back door. Ashleigh had 3 roommates she was staying with. They were all in the house. When he broke in, Ashleigh tried to get out of the house, but the other one was coming in the back door, so she couldn't escape. She ended up locking herself in a bathroom. He kicked in the bathroom door, and he shot her once in the shoulder and then once in the head, and then he killed himself. The other man, Joshua Scott, is now awaiting to stand trial for 3 counts of capital murder right here in Madill at this courthouse come August. Now, how do we stop this kind of cycle of abuse, murder, bullying in our homes? Well, Ashleigh's Patience Project promotes that first you start it with your kids. Open the dialogue with your kids. Half the kids, remember, 3 and 4 will be bullied in their lifetime at school, but half of them do not talk to their parents about it. They remain silent about it. They will not tell their family or their friends. They're too embarrassed. Of course, this is the same as in domestic violence. Women are too afraid to speak out about what's happening to them, too embarrassed, so they remain silent. So first we start by opening a dialogue with our children. And also, be aware that when these kinds of things are going on in the home, it's usually signs of bigger problems. It's a good chance that, your child who's feeling bullied, the bullier has something going on deeper in his home. So we can do things like rallies like this. The schools tend to usually have rallies at the school that will help promote bullying awareness and what bullying is. And, talk to your teenagers about who they're dating. Be sure you really know the person, because, 10th graders, that's your 16-year-old. 1 in 4 of them has been slapped by a boyfriend. That's too many. That's too many. As Ashleigh's mom, I have been, very outspoken about all this because, when we lost Ashleigh, we ended up within a 2-week period of time having about 20 of her girlfriends come to us and say they were being abused as well. Little girls that have known all their life that I had no clue. And they ended up leaving their boyfriends or needing help to leave their boyfriends or husbands. And that's kind of how Ashleigh's Patience Project got started. I got started like helping my daughter's girlfriends who needed the help. It was almost like Ashleigh was saying, Mom, help my friends. And it turned into a chain reaction where right now, like earlier this week, my husband ran into an officer in New Mexico who had seen the stick. We have car magnets with her face on them, who had seen it and told my husband that he knew who she was and that his daughter had escaped from a domestic violence situation that she was in for over 5 years, and that's in New Mexico. So that's how far it's spreading. So please, I'd like to leave everyone with a thought that I feel like as a mother, the ultimate thing you can lose is a child. I have never felt anything as tragic as losing my daughter and a granddaughter. when as mothers we feel like when they're hurting, we have to protect them, and here I could not protect her. But you as mothers can protect your children. You can do something about it. I feel like I will be with Ashleigh and Patience again. I think this is a work that God has given me to do, to reach out to other people and promote domestic violence awareness and bullying awareness. I'd just like to say that I am very grateful for this community, because this community has really stood by my family, even though we don't live in this community. We actually live near Bonham. But this community has become really aware and open, and they have been really good to us. And we appreciate everything they're going to do, but I'd like you to keep us in your prayers, especially since we're coming up close to trial. Just be sure you talk with your kids. And we have a table set up here. We're passing out some bracelets for free if y'all want to pick one up. We're also doing some promotional stuff. The Ashleigh's Patience Project is going to be working on some promotional videos that we're going to be putting on the internet that do different topic subjects on domestic violence, like stalking and bullying and those kinds of things. And so we have some boards up there where you can write in, like, I'm a survivor, or I speak out for my daughter, or whatever, and have your picture made. And we're going to be putting those into those videos if you want to participate. I was trying to think what else. And we also have a few t-shirts. The t-shirts are $20. Those are funds to just help raise so that I can keep doing promotional events like this, because Ashleigh's Patient Project is a nonprofit organization. We don't make any money off of what we're doing. We're just trying to help communities and families. And here in a minute, he's gonna, if they have it, cue up a video that has pictures of my daughter and of her singing. She used to love to sing. Ashleigh was a beautiful, singer and actress, and we just cherish her memory, and I'd like to share that all with you. Thank you.